Hello, hello? Anybody want to whistle for me? Good afternoon. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Shh. Yeah, that was me. Welcome to Hogwarts. Immediately after this session, please proceed to the Great Hall to pick up your robes prior to the sorting hat ceremony. Not Slytherin, anything but Slytherin. Sorry, I couldn't resist saying that, but as students start on campus every year, somehow that comes to my mind, and perhaps it comes to yours too. I can guarantee you that this sight of seeing all of our interprofessional leaders on stage together, sitting maybe somewhat stiffly as the brief afternoon goes on, will not be a common sight as you guys move through your health professions education. I cannot guarantee that you won't see groups of us occasionally standing outside Fulgenetti, near the bookstore, around the hospital, talking about important things like potions, magical creatures, things like that. No, but seriously, thank you for indulging me. My name is Suzanne Brandenburg. I'm the director of the CU Center for Interprofessional Education, and I'm really here to welcome you to this exciting start to your professional journey. We also have a few guests that I'd like to have welcome you as well. So first, I'm going to introduce Vice Chancellor for Health Affairs Riley to say a few words.
So good afternoon, everybody. For those of you who I haven't met, I'm John Riley, and I'm the Vice Chancellor for Health Affairs, and this is actually probably the most meaningful thing that the Vice Chancellor for Health Affairs does all year long. I think we are all united here, not because we're going to Hogwarts, but because we share a common interest in improving the health of our communities and the patients who come to seek our care. And given our various interests, we come at that from different directions. Since we all converge on the patients, we need to work together. For those of you who are more athletic than I am and have played team sports in the past, you've probably been on some really good teams and on some not so functional teams. Our goal here is to provide you with the experience so that all of us can function well as teams. Recognizing the contributions that each discipline brings to patient care, promoting communication so that when people think that something seems like a bad idea, they speak up. If they have a good idea, they feel free to speak up. Because at the end of the day, we want to provide the best possible care for the patients and communities that we serve. We designed this campus, not we, because I've only been here 2 years. The designers of this campus designed this campus in a way to try to promote interaction by all the various health professional training programs that occur on this campus. This is a formal aspect of that interaction. You will spend your entire careers working with people from other disciplines. And I think this is the introduction to try to get you to learn how to all play well in the sandbox together. I hope you derive value from these activities. In my days of going to medical school, you could view it as we trained a lot of people who thought they were the Lone Ranger. Now we endeavor to train people who work well in teams, and this is the foundation of that training. So I hope you enjoy it. I hope you learn a lot from it, and I hope you look back on this and realize that it was an entree into a fabulous profession. Healthcare, even though it has some issues and you'll have some stressful days, is an incredibly rewarding profession, and one of the few left in our society that will put you in contact with all strata of society. So you will work with people from all different backgrounds who come with a variety of perspectives, and in a society that's increasingly fragmented, you have the opportunity to look across the entire human experience and then share that with the rest of society to hopefully so we can have a more civil dialogue about things of common interest. So thanks for your attention, and enjoy the afternoon. Thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Riley. Now I'd like to introduce Assistant Vice Chancellor for Student Services, Gascon. Too many words, sorry.
Hello, IPE 2017. Wait, that's all I get back? Hello, IPE 2017. Much better. My name's Jan Gascoigne. I'm the Assistant Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs at the CU Anschutz Medical Campus. And what that means to you is that my role is to serve you as a student advocate. So no matter what school you're in, my role is to help you navigate this campus, as well as partner with folks across campus to ensure that what we're doing co-curricularly supports what you're learning in the classroom. So I think you've learned a little today about Open Campus. That's one of the new partnerships that we've been working on, and I'm really excited for you all to jump into it. How many people today, right now, stand up if you are sitting next to someone who is not in your school and you met today? Please stand up. All right. Let's give these folks a hand, because that's the beginning of IPE, right? So I might get pulled off the stage, but I have a few tips to help you succeed in IPE. So, whoops, let's move. Let me see. Tip number 1. Does anyone know what this is? Caterpillar. This is a processionary caterpillar. The processionary caterpillar has hooks on its head and hooks on its tail. So you know, as scientists, because I think you're all scientists in this room, that a scientist saw that and said, well, let's see what happens if we hook them together. So a scientist took about 15 of these caterpillars, hooked them together, put them in a terrarium or a little jar, whatever you call those things, put water and food in the middle of that terrarium, and put those caterpillars hooked together around the terrarium. For 3 days and 3 nights, the caterpillars walked around the terrarium. So they walked around the food, and they kept walking around the food, and they kept walking around the food. And after 3 days, they died of dehydration and starvation, right? Now, not one of the caterpillars said, yo, Earl, we've been walking for 3 days around this water and this food, and I'm starving and I'm thirsty. They all kept walking. In the class and in this work that you're doing on this campus, it is critical that you take those risks and you speak up. Dean Riley just talked about being able to speak up and say, I don't think this is going in the right direction, or I do think this is going in the right direction. Every one of you on this campus is going to have opportunities to build that skill set and to enrich your leadership. This class is one of the places to do it, and we want to encourage you to take those risks. We want to encourage you to sit by people you don't know. We want to encourage you to reach out and learn new disciplines, because everything here is a resource for you to grow and for you to continue to build the skill sets we need to move forward and improve the health of our nation and healthcare across our country. The next part is taking advantage of resources. Dr. Martin Luther King spent years preparing to become the leader that he was in our country. He went and he met with different religions from the one that he practices. He went and met different cultures. He went to different countries, and he learned about different disciplines. So when the time came for him to lead the movement, he knew people from across a number of different areas, and he built a team that could take the civil rights movement and bring a number of people together to serve our country. You're in the same spot in this class. You have the opportunity to learn from different students in different programs. You have the opportunity to learn from different faculty and different community partners. And these resources that are coming to you in this class, if you take advantage of them, will grow you and will expand how you see and practice as you move forward in your careers. Critically important, there's so many opportunities to do this, and it changes who you are every time you try something new. So take advantage of the resources that are available in this class, in your other class, and around this campus and in the community. Numerous opportunities for you to grow. This is Mount Kilimanjaro. Believe it or not, in 2008, which I guess is 10 years ago, I summited. I climbed Mount Kilimanjaro. And when I was climbing Kilimanjaro, I was with a group of people, which is a team of people as well, and everybody had a responsibility, and we all actually summited together. But what I learned on that climb from the gentleman who helped us do it from Africa is they said, do not look at the mountain. It was a 9-day trek, and they said, do not look over at the mountain. All you have to do every day is take the next step. Just take the next step. You're coming into a really intense program here, whatever school that you're in. I know that it's high stress. There's some high anxiety. And what I want you to remember is you don't have to worry about the end of your program. You don't have to worry about the end of the story. You have to worry about the next step. So the next step might be I got to get up and go to class, or the next step might be I have to study because I have an exam coming up, or I have to connect with some folks on a project. But all you have to worry about is taking that next step. You are surrounded by people who will support you in taking the next step. And as you take that next step, before you know it, you actually are at the summit. And you're going to be standing on this stage or out in the Commons receiving your diploma. It will go by like that. And it is hard to hear today, but it will go by like that. So remember, when you get in those spots that are difficult, reach out. Use your team, use the people you've met on this campus, but keep taking the next step. I used to work in tobacco control. So before I came to the university, I did tobacco control. And I worked at University of Denver. And when I went to the gym, there was a saying at the gym that was, you cannot quit wrestling when you get tired. You have to quit wrestling once the gorilla gets tired. Our work in healthcare has a lot of gorillas. We've got tobacco control. We've got a big food industry. We've got some complexities in our healthcare systems. That is our gorillas, and you'll find many more as we're working through it. It's easy to get tired because they seem daunting, but working in teams and working across disciplines are the way that we're going to wear out the gorilla, and we're going to wrestle together to ensure that we move health forward in our country and across the globe. So remember that you don't quit when you're tired, you quit after you've wrestled the gorilla down, and we're with you to do that. Finally, the last thing I want to tell you is how many have gotten a raffle ticket and run off? Couple of us, or I'm the only one. And then your number gets pulled and you gave it to your friend and they win something really amazing. You're like, but that should have been mine. The work that you do on this campus as a student happens when you're present. And so you must be present to win, which means every time you step into your classroom, every time you step into your lab or your clinicals, you have to be present to win and to grow. And when you do that, you are growing not only yourself, but you're growing the people who are in your group and your team that you're working with today. And you're growing the ability, again, to serve whatever population you end up serving. So these are keys to a successful IPE and a successful time here at CU Anschutz. A couple ways to get involved tonight. We have Welcome Wednesday. It's from 5 to 7. It's out on the Betcher Commons where you had lunch. There are 47 different student organizations that are going to be there, so another opportunity for you to find some places where you might want to share your talents and your gifts. There's lots of opportunities to volunteer. I know through the open campus here and other avenues, you'll be getting a weekly newsletter every Monday from the Office of Student Services. It has all kinds of things that you can get involved with, and we want to encourage you to do that as best as possible with your busy schedules. And then my office is on the third floor of Education 2 North. We have a student service suite there that has the registrar, the bursar, the financial aid. And again, I am open and excited to be working with you to think about ways that we serve the needs of you as students to ensure that this campus supports you in your important endeavors in education. So welcome to CU Anschutz. Welcome to IPE. What a wonderful opportunity for you to work together. And I look forward to seeing all the great things you guys do throughout the semester. Have a good semester.
Thank you very much. All right, I'm going to show you guys our introductory video to give you another overview of how we think about IPE.
This campus was built for interprofessional education, and increasingly we're finding students are coming here because that's what they're looking for.
When I was looking at different schools, IPE definitely was a factor in where I would want to go. Being able to have simulation labs and just experience a patient scenario with these other students that I'm going to school with was something that I wouldn't really have an opportunity to experience anywhere else.
It's definitely an interprofessional education. You do work with all the students from all the different professions. Sometimes it can be hard to see how dentistry fits in, but you get a lot out of it and you learn a lot from your peers from the other schools to see how their education is different and how it can affect your treatment of patients later in the clinic.
In this team-based learning environment, you really have to work together and learn together and be comfortable with being uncomfortable. That's what team-based learning is all about, and be willing to be vulnerable in front of your other teammates and say, I don't know this, do you know this? Because that's what it's all about in the real world. When you go out on rotations and when you go into your profession, you're going to encounter things that you don't know, and you have to learn on the spot.
With the iPad classes, because it's more thought, it's kind of ethics, it's how do we work together, how do I listen to you, how do you listen to me, the experience tends to be more global.
People think intuitively about teamwork and don't really question it. If you ask most people, they'll say they're great at teamwork, but the reality is that most of us aren't. We have a set of defaults that we use, and yet teamwork is really the key to quality and safety in healthcare now. So we've taken the approach that teamwork requires skill, it requires practice, it requires knowledge, and we want to bring all those elements together for our students to work in teams, to practice in teams, and to do that over and over again so that they're successful, so that they experience failure, and that they learn from that process.
The interprofessional education program on the Anschutz Medical Campus is one of the leaders across the country. Oftentimes, students might learn about some of these skills within their own curriculum, but they never really get the chance to practice that in a team environment, and that's where the IPE curriculum really helps propel our students ahead of others.
So we can do this stuff together, but if we're not engaging the patient, if we're not thinking about what's in their best interest, and we're not doing that systematically and in a way that respects the values of the patient and the ethical traditions that undergird our professions, we're going to fail at all of it.
I know that patients are very perceptive in terms of how things are going and what's working and what isn't. And so for their sake, I think we need to work together as well as possible.
You know, here at the University of Colorado, we believe that the most powerful learning is by doing. And so our courses are experiential. You learn in teams by solving problems. You do that in our team-based learning and in a classroom setting. We do that in our simulation center in the Cape, and you do it in clinical settings around real patients.
Dawn Clinic is so different from other healthcare arenas. In any one setting, they may see 3 or 4 different healthcare professionals, which is kind of amazing for what we're able to accomplish within their visit frame.
Dawn is an interprofessional, student-run free clinic focused on providing the underserved patients of Aurora, specifically uninsured patients who can't get insurance, a place to come in and receive primary care. And it was designed to be a venue for interprofessional students from the Anschutz campus to be able to come in and actually practice taking care of patients in teams together, and to be that natural outflow of what they're learning on campus, actually being in the community working with each other to provide care.
I think that what Dawn really provides for students is a real-life application of how to work together in a team, but to also remind you that you have one small piece of the puzzle. And so for me as a physical therapy student, I'm always thinking musculoskeletal and function, but working in these teams, I get to see the medical side of things. I get to see what the pharmacist's viewpoint is, and it helps me become a better clinician because I can sort of see how all these pieces fit together, and I can look at my patients with a more global sense.
So the CAPE Center is probably my favorite part of the whole iPad program, because you take all of the concepts and all of the team building and group work that you did during the iPad course, and you get to apply it. You go through 2 scenarios, and one of ours we did really well. We worked really well as a team. We were able to handle the situation, and then one of them was just a complete failure. And as the stress rises and the tension rises, it's harder to work as a team, and it's harder to communicate. It really spoke to the importance of trusting your teammates and really communicating and coming in together when things are going wrong.
It really comes down to how well you can work in a team. And honestly, that's what you're graded on, and more importantly, that's what determines if the patient you're taking care of is getting good care.
One of the things I got out of IPE so much is that we do have different roles. We're not trying to all fulfill the same role, and we have strengths, we have weaknesses, and it's really important to be able to communicate between the professions for the patient's best interest.
Each health profession contributes something a little different to the care of the patient, and it's important that the team members learn how to work together effectively in order to achieve the best outcomes for the patient.
We will continue to improve all of those cultural elements while we're advancing technology, while we're advancing therapeutics, and that's going to result in better outcomes for patients over the next 5 to 10 years. Because that's the way we really need to work. Healthcare is a team sport, and we have the essential ingredients here on this campus to deliver on that in a very impactful way.
I see interprofessional education as really setting the stage for the change in culture that's occurring in healthcare settings.
We used to think that smart people with a lot of knowledge delivered the best care. And what we've found is smart people with all the knowledge who don't work together, it doesn't matter how smart you are, the care fails, and it fails quite frequently. So teamwork, collaboration, that's the only way for us to get to quality, and it's the only way for us to ensure safety for our patients. It's the future.
All right, oops, sorry, my Hogwarts again. All right, so just to let you guys know who's in the room, we have about 90 teams that are going to be launching today, and you make up about 750 students. So this is a really big group with a lot of potential. We've got students from all these healthcare professions that are listed here, and we've got about 50 faculty facilitators. So it's really a comprehensive campus-wide undertaking to help you guys get where you want to be at the end of your training. I want to highlight the IPE team because you will likely be interacting with these folks, sort of the backbone behind the scenes people who are not loving to sit on the stage, so they're not sitting on the stage. But Reese Rowland, who is probably running around somewhere, Natalie Methe, our student worker, who's also probably running around somewhere, Michelle Collarelli, who, I don't know, see, they're all hiding. Anybody here? No. And Shannon Patsy. So what we have, though, is a really terrific administrative team, and we want you guys to reach out if you have questions or concerns or anything's not straightforward, because we know you guys have a lot of moving parts, as you start your education here. And now I also want to point out our interprofessional team. These are the leaders across all of your programs who work to make sure that our content not only makes sense from a broader interprofessional standpoint, but in the context of each of your programs. So I've got everybody, I think, in alphabetical order by last name. And so first I'm going to point out Amy Ackerman from the Physician Assistant Program. Carrie Franson from the Skaggs School of Pharmacy. Karen Gorton from the College of Nursing. Wendy Madagoski from the School of Medicine. Amy Nordencraft from the Physical Therapy Program. And Lindsay Yates from the School of Dental Medicine. Nikki Block is just returning from her maternity leave, maybe too much information, but she represents our anesthesiologist assistant program and is not sitting here on stage with us. And then Daniel Goldberg is representing the Center for Bioethics and Humanities. So I'm going to briefly mention Eric Gilliam, who oversees clinical integrations, and Shaima Basha, who oversees clinical transformations, but each of them are going to come up in turn and give you a brief overview of their program, and then you'll get to hear from Wendy again about IPED. So right now I'm going to turn it over to Eric Gilliam.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. I think you've heard welcome to campus like at least 5 times now, so I'll skip that part of the speech. Okay, so I'm Eric Gilliam. I'm the director of the Clinical Integrations Program, and Clinical Integrations is how we IPE in this program outside of the classroom and outside the simulation lab. We'll talk about those in a minute. But before I talk more about CI, I want to learn more about you guys. So just by a show of hands, how many of you guys were student leaders in a prior life in undergrad? Like fraternity, sorority, student organizations? Okay. Keep your hands up if you enjoyed it enough that you thought you might be a student leader here on campus during your experience at CU. Okay, add your hand back up. Do you think you might have a leadership role as a practitioner in the future? I have some diehards right here in the center. These are the guys to look out for. Turn to them when you guys need help. Awesome. So if you put your hands in the air, then we have a lot of great opportunities for you. We have a whole menu of offerings dedicated to leadership development. Because there's leadership and there's leadership in healthcare. We need leaders in healthcare. New question, how many of you guys were community volunteers in a previous life? Of course you were. You're trying to get into health profession school. How many of you actually enjoyed it and thought, you know, I could do more of this. I might do this when I'm at CU. Awesome, awesome. We have great connections for you guys here. We actually have a whole menu dedicated to student volunteerism and community engagement. That is a great ground to connect with your peers across disciplines and get connected and start practicing together. I'll ask one more question. How many of you guys have been touched either through a loved one, a family member, a friend with a healthcare crisis? I would say probably a lot of us. If not yet, then we will in the future. If you don't mind sharing, could you raise your hand if that crisis centered around mental illness or behavioral health? There's a lot. This is something that touches all of us in patient care, regardless of our professions. So this is why we've dedicated our conversations this year in the One Book, One Campus program on mental health and mental wellness, because it's something we'll all have to deal with. We will all see patients who have struggles and challenges in that arena as well, and we need to be skilled in that. Okay, so enough about you guys. This is what you need to know about your requirements. CI, so what is clinical integrations? It is putting interprofessional education into practice. And so this is occurring in clinical settings, in the community, with community partners and patient populations. The whole goal here is just to learn about each other, learn about your role, whatever profession you might be, and learn about the roles that your peer professions have too. How can you work together to improve patient care? And meanwhile, you'll be doing that by engaging, working together collaboratively. We do have 2 phases. I'll briefly mention phase 2, which is our interprofessional practicum. This is not something you have to worry about today. For some of you, you're not even going to see this for 4 years. So this is how we work with your program to make sure that your clinical training also includes interprofessional education experiences. So as you go on rotations or clinicals or clerkships, that you have at least one of those, that you're going to see a team taking care of a patient. Now that team is going to look different because patient needs are different in different practice settings, and they come to us for different needs based on our profession. So it's going to be very much authentic and relative to the profession you're entering. But don't worry about that for today. We'll get there. What I want you to know about today is our first phase, CI1. This is early engagement. This is if you've been here on campus for a month, a week, a day, we have things for you to do. You don't have to wait till your clerkships to get your hands dirty and start working with people and patients and community members. So we've published these menus. We have 2 new programs. These are new. We designed these with you guys in mind. So this is now all of the campus, faculty, staff, students, upperclassmen, younger-classmen, they're all going to be engaged in this. But we designed this for you because we know the best time to kind of get your foot in the door and find your niche on this campus is now, this first semester. So we are introducing the IPE Open Campus program and the One Book, One Campus program. So these are 2 avenues for you to connect and also complete that CI1 requirement that we're expecting each of you to do. So basically between today and the end of the semester, you have to just do one interprofessional activity and tell us about it. So you choose when, where, and how and tell us about it. And that's pretty much the gist of the requirement. FYI, this is new. So if you talk to your upperclassmen, they're like, I don't know what you're talking about. Very likely, educate them. They'll probably say, oh, that's pretty cool. You know, we didn't have to do that. I wish we'd done that. I'm not making it up. I've asked already. I know how students are. We have to credit student peers of yours who've come before you for the idea of these programs. They have requested this. They have said, let's stop talking about IPE, let's put it into action, okay? And they're right. So we asked them, what would you want to do? And by talking to them and our partners throughout the campus and the community, we came up with these menus. So the menus, there are 5 separate menus, 5 different themes. Use these icons to guide you. So if you're really interested in leadership development, check out that leadership development menu first, okay? Many of these fit in more than one category, so use these icons to kind of guide your interest. All of this menu is online on campus. We'll be publishing it and sending it to our upperclassmen as well. But right now, it is for you guys. So jump on these opportunities, claim your spot early. I have 3 things I want to advertise because these are up and coming very quickly, if not right now. One is if you're looking to engage or if you have no plans this weekend, I'm not going to judge. If you do, you can find time to fit this in. Each year, our partner AHEC hosts health screenings that rely on interprofessional teams of students to screen rural and underserved patients in Colorado. So regardless of what profession you are or how long you've been training, you can get trained on 8 health screenings, even those that kind of are traditionally not in your scope. For example, a physical therapy student, yes, you're going to be checking a blood glucose, a finger stick. We'll teach you how to do it. Don't be afraid. So this is a great way to kind of expand your repertoire of practice skills even before you've really spent much time in class. This is going on in Pueblo, Colorado, all through the weekend. This is the first time they're doing that venue. You can get in for free for the fair if you've never been. If you've never been to a state fair, now is the time. This is a lot of fun, so check this out. They are really looking for student volunteers. Go on the menu and sign up. Another one, the Interprofessional Certificate in Quality Improvement and Patient Safety. I know it's an exciting name, but this is actually an awesome program we offer every semester for students. So those of you who are thinking about healthcare administration or healthcare leadership or quality care or going to be that thought leader, think about this. So there is a required orientation meeting on September 6th. We do offer it every semester, though, if you can't get in. After that, it is a flexible schedule. It lasts the whole semester, and you finish the program with a certificate you can put on your CV. Essentially, this is 3 parts. You get to go talk to actual patients about their patient experience. You get to sit in on executive hospital meetings and committee meetings to talk about quality care. And then you finish up by talking to hospital administrators about how they can improve the patient experience. You're not going to get that opportunity too many times until long after you graduate. So take advantage of this one as well. The last one is Dawn Clinic. You saw it in the video. We've posted their other videos. This is an excellent example of interprofessional practice. They are hosting 2 information sessions this semester. So if you're interested in volunteering, know this is something that I think a lot of students miss. You kind of have to have some good clinical skills to really do the patient care stuff. So usually that's something that you grow into later on. So the real need is for early students to be administrators, to help manage the clinic. So there's both clinical and non-clinical roles for you, regardless of your profession. So consider signing up for these sessions, learn a lot more, and then check it out and see if you want to volunteer. Okay, so I don't need to spend much time talking about making the most of your time at CU Anschutz. I think Vice Chancellor Gascon, she knocked it out of the park. I'm not going to repeat anything. But please heed her advice. This is a great way to kind of build your reputation as a community member here on campus and build some great resources across many programs so you can do a lot more than just what you could do if your pond was so small. If you limit yourself just to your own professional home versus if you make your home AMC. So heed that advice. Quick logistics. Menu offerings are all online. Announcements about menu changes and new programming are going to be made on Canvas. There is some limited capacity, so check out your calendars now. Don't miss out on those. There are 3 steps. You sign up first, you show up and sign in, and then you submit an evaluation form. So we'll send you, after you participate in your CI Open Campus program or whatever interprofessional program you're going to do, we'll send you a quick, very brief online evaluation, and then you're done. You have till December the 15th, so you really have plenty of time. Things get busy in December. Most of these things are front-loaded in the next 4 or 5 weeks. Keep that in mind. And we'll be publishing more information soon about it. Create your own. So if you're doing something really awesome that's interprofessional, we want to know about it. I might not know about it. So if it's great and it's interprofessional, submit that information through the Create Your Own program. And for those who are distance-based, because not everyone can be on campus throughout the semester, we will have some remote and online programming available as well. If you have questions, find us at Welcome Wednesday tonight. Email IPE help, the email address there, and then talk to your reps, talk to your classmen, talk to your faculty. We're really excited about this programming. Students have been asking about this for years, and we're really excited that we get to deliver this for you guys. So I hope you have fun, and welcome to AMC.
Now I'd like to introduce Shaima Basha, who's the director of the Center for Advancing Professional Excellence.
So, hi everyone. Again, my name is Shaima, and I also direct the Clinical Transformations, which is an IPE simulation activity that takes place at the Cape. So our goal in Clinical Transformations is to really connect the dots for you between the classroom activities that you do and before you get to clinical practice. So it's an application experience that will allow you to apply the basic science and the tools that you learn in IPED, whether it's in teamwork and collaboration, values and ethics, and quality and safety, and using simulated equipment as well as working with our professional actors to apply those skills. It's also an opportunity for you to reflect and refine your skills as a team, because you get to work with interprofessional faculty as well as facilitators to bring that experience to life for you. So I also have a video for you to quickly see what that experience looks like.
My nervousness going into it was not sure how natural all of these new strategies were going to be for communicating with our peers and colleagues. And so that was just something that I wanted to take away from this experience. And it was kind of exactly what I expected going into these scenarios where the situation changes and you're kind of working together to come out with the best solution and the best result for the patient. And so there were moments where we obviously stumbled through it, but every step of the way, I think it was a learning experience. And the first scenario was rough, but we came through, and the second scenario was just very calm. And I think that's both from experience and working as a team. And this is going to carry through in our professions when we're actually out and practicing.
So again, our hope here for you is to get to come to the Simulation Center and apply all those tools. And our focus will be on the CT objectives. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us, and we would be happy to answer them for you. And we look forward to seeing you at the Cape. Thank you.
All right, we're getting close. Wendy Madagoski is going to talk a little bit about IPED, and then I'm going to offer a really brief recap, and we'll get on with the rest of our afternoon. It's a whole other thing.
So hi, I'm Wendy Madagoski, and in addition to serving as the school medicine rep, I direct the IPED course. And IPED stands for Interprofessional Education and Development, and today you're going to be meeting the teams and working with the teams that you'll be progressing with into next semester. IPED will be in the spring of your first year and in the fall of your second year. And so just as a reminder that in IPED, you're going to spend some time learning some of the basic science behind teamwork and collaboration, values and ethics, and safety and quality. In all of your professional programs, you learn the basic science of anatomy, physiology, pharmacology, other things before you actually work with patients. And the same thing goes for IPE. You need the basics in terms of the knowledge and the skills before you put it into practice in terms of collaborative practice. So that's what we start with IPED. The other thing that we spend time on focusing is actually giving you an opportunity in a safe environment to develop as a team, to try out new team processes. And those are skills that you can then take to the clinical transformation simulation as well as into CI. We use the TBL process very purposefully to bring you together, to work in teams, to learn from and with each other. And then this is the structure that you all will practice today as part of this IPE orientation. TBL is engaging for students. The faculty and the students actually think it's a fair amount of fun to work together this way. We allow you to interact in a different way than you would in other settings. And it's an opportunity for you to really grow, not just in your knowledge and skills for these content domains, but also in terms of how you interact and develop together as a team. So for today, our main focus is for you to become familiar with IPE through all of the content that you've seen on Canvas and also our presentations here in the large group, as well as get to know your teammates and then the team-based learning processes. We have specific learning objectives that your faculty will remind you of as you go through the session. And then for those of you who like to plan far in advance, a couple of notes about how things will fall in the spring. So you'll have sessions also on Wednesday afternoons from 3 to 5, and it goes between the end of January and the end of March. We've got a couple of skip weeks for spring breaks. There's some information on Canvas about the syllabus and other information about how the course runs. And then we're going to be maintaining your teams as much as possible. There's some changes in student enrollment between the fall and the spring, and some of the students have some clinical conflicts, so they may shift into the online section of the course. But for the most part, you're going to be with who you are meeting today. Couple of reminders about what you need to do after today's session. So make sure to leave your lanyards that you have that picked up for your registration in your team kits. We'll use those again in the spring. You have an evaluation that will come to you through the email, through UC Denver email, through Qualtrics. So please give us some feedback. It's a quick survey. And then also a reminder to sign up for your CI1 activity if you haven't got a chance to do that so far.
All right, thanks. All right, I'm supposed to explain why the rehab thing is all that funny. Is I just had knee surgery, and so I am deeply engaged and indebted to our physical therapy colleagues right now because I'm going there all the time, so they're all laughing at me. I don't feel the need to rehash most of what you heard today. I feel like I hope you got the message of how we're looking at this as a big program, and a big part of you as your professional identity really comes into focus over the next several years. I do hope you'll take the opportunity to engage well beyond the coursework and the things that we've structured. I do think the open campus activities are broad and should appeal to everybody in some way. I hope that many of you are reading or have read our campus read, which is called An Unquiet Mind. I understand the bookstore just got in some copies today if you haven't. But I really mostly want to say that our goal here is to prepare and empower you to work in the interprofessional teams that are needed. There are increasingly complex health problems in society, and we really need new approaches and your energy and your talent in order to solve those problems. In order to create a better healthcare future for our patients and for populations, you are our promise, and we really want to help you find what you need. Most importantly, as you embark on this career, remember that you have all chosen a profession, and Dr. Riley mentioned that a little bit too. But I think it's important to think every day what a privilege it is to care for patients, to get to know their loved ones, to work with people when they really are vulnerable, and to take that responsibility very, very seriously. You owe it to them to absolutely master your craft in your individual professions, but to really figure out how to work together in teams to ensure that everybody has the health care and the outcomes that they deserve. We are here to support that. We want this campus to support that. And if you guys want to make a difference to the health care of our patients and to society in the future, we think you're in the right place. So welcome to Anschutz Medical Campus and welcome to IPE. Thank you. All right. Now I think you're supposed to go to your assigned classrooms or to get your sorting hat thing sorted out. No.
Kid hugs, you know? One of my friends said, kids are children are such a